I'll move to the next topic here. Oh yeah. So are there any methods that you think are especially effective at getting through to men or young men in particular about the importance of asking for help when they're feeling unwell? Have you noticed any patterns about what tends to be most effective at flipping the switch in men's minds where they begin to think, I'm not going to hide how I'm feeling anymore. I'm going to have the guts to ask for help?
Yeah, the thing I found, I think men need a safe place to feel vulnerable, to let their guard down, let their hair down a little bit. They need a place where they won't feel judged, they won't feel ridiculed or ashamed. And they have to be able to carve out that place amongst a small handful of intimate friends who know them very well. And these are the friends you have to keep close to you because when you do go through your difficult times, they remember you when you were flying high and everything was going great. Now they see you down at the depths of things. The same way with my intimate group of friends I had around me coming through. And they knew that when I reached out to them and when I told them what I was going through and that I needed them, to call and check on me time to time because no one else was calling at the time. My life was totally bleak and dark and lonely. And I needed them to call me and check on me. And I wanted to see if I could call them at 1 or 2 in the morning. So that's the safe place that I carved out for myself. I never felt judged. I never felt ridiculed or ashamed because these were dear friends for 30 or 40 years, each of them. And so I think men need to do the same thing for themselves. And I think it helps when men talk to men. I've got a lot of great mentors in my life that I can feel very comfortable reaching out and talking to. Guys who are older than I am, guys who are my same age. And it just gives you a sense of, wow, there's an innate understanding. Women are great and they do a lot of great things for everything and everybody. But there's a lot of things that they just cannot quite relate to when men are talking to men about men's things. We know exactly and intuitively what we were talking about. And that's a great help for men.
I see. Yeah, if you got those close friends who know what you're normally like, and then they can see the contrast, they're gonna empathize with you. And I've been through depression myself, and that'll come up a little bit later as you've seen. But I remember when I was feeling depressed, it seemed like things were so dark that I thought everyone else was probably experiencing that same level of darkness, even though that's of course not true. But when I assume that everyone else is experiencing that same level of darkness, it feels like I don't want to burden other people with my problems because they're probably, the world is so bleak to them too. And that's not reality. When our mental health is good, we're capable of taking on other people's burdens for a while and having people bring to us their struggles and be able to help them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I know when I was going through my period of darkness, I felt I was the only one going through it. I'd see other people out across the street or in restaurants or coffee shops, and it seemed like they had their life together. They're laughing, they're joyful. I'm like, wow, why can't I laugh? Why don't I have any joy? And that was really what was bugging me for all those months. But we do have to realize that we're not alone, though. That's a major thing. And men tend to want to go through this by themselves and alone, by not telling anybody, and by getting themselves involved with very self-destructive behaviors sometimes, be it drugs or alcohol. These are solitary activities most of the time. Promiscuous behaviors, all the strip bars, all the clubs, gambling, and these are things you don't normally tell people that you're doing in excess, especially. But all of a sudden, this picks up because it's a way for us to try to buffer that pain and get away from that pain, even if it's temporary.
And sometimes it's basically an alternative method of suicide that wouldn't be called suicide if you drank yourself to death, for example, or overdosed on drugs. But it's a way of escaping the pain, which is kind of comparable to suicide.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, you're definitely escaping, but it's only temporary. That old thoughts and tendencies are going to come back. And, there's a great saying I like to use. It says, Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So the depression is temporary. Now, some people are depressed for years and maybe even decades, but they need to get help. They need to be in therapy. They need to be in counseling. But suicide is a permanent solution that you don't ever want to enact.